If you're starting over after a big life change and your brain just feels scattered, this video is for you. You don't have to have your whole life figured out today. You just need a little bit of stability this week. And I'm going to give you your first 3 steps so you feel steadier. I'm Andrea Daley, a certified life coach, and I help women rebuild after big life changes. So let's get into it. In this video, I'm going to talk about the fact that starting over isn't just about feelings, it's about 1,000 little things to figure out. And also about how your identity, your routines, and your sense of control all get disrupted during a big life change. So we rebuild stability before we rebuild the whole life. Step 1 is the stability anchor. Just pick one. I'm going to give you some examples, but just pick one that you can do daily that tells your brain, I'm safe and I'm steady. So anchors work because they bring you less decision fatigue. The fact we have to keep making all of these little decisions, it's like a credit card bill that just builds up and causes fatigue to the point that you just stop making decisions. And some of those can be important ones. So you get your anchor, it helps to reduce that fatigue and it gives you more steadiness. Something else, set yourself up for success one at a time, not 10. And then pick a lane. Start off by either picking the morning for that one anchor or picking the evening. For example, I do total different things in the morning than I do in the evening that kind of bring me stability, but I've added these anchors one at a time. I'm going to give you some just super simple anchors that you can start with. Something as simple in the morning is water before coffee. The reason why you've had a bit of dehydration overnight when you haven't been drinking water, that caffeine, especially if you're drinking juiced up coffee, that caffeine can hit. It can cause you some jitters. It can also bother your stomach a bit. So you rehydrate, you dilute the acid in your stomach. So when that coffee hits, it's going to in a better way that's healthier and doesn't give you that jitter vibe. So that's one anchor you could do in the morning. Drink a full cup of water. I got this big girl right here. And I make sure that I go to bed with that and it's empty before I have my coffee in the morning. Here's another really simple one that you can do that can give you some stability. Make your bed before you do anything else in the morning. Now, girl, if you got to pee, you just go pee, but come right on back. First thing in the morning, make your bed. And if you feel like I'm just so overwhelmed, I don't even want to make my bed, take your top blanket and just foof it over. So when you come back to your bed later on, there's a calming presence to it versus one more thing in your life that just feels chaotic and out of control. So there's 2 suggestions. Pick one and start. Here's a couple of examples for evening anchors. Your phone. Put it in the other room, even for 10 minutes. Give yourself 10 minutes of phone-free time with no distraction. I don't know how many times I've gone to bed early with the full intention that I was going to sit down, read my book, just enjoy some quiet music. And I'm looking over at my phone. I'm thinking, I think I'm just going to check whatever it is, the weather and the mail. Before I know it, I'm on the death scroll of social media. 45 minutes of my time have been eaten up. And I've also got that blue light stimulant. Maybe a shower and put it on some comfy clothes. That's a really simple anchor also, and a little bit of self-care wrapped into one package. There's a couple of evening anchors you can choose from. I'm just throwing some ideas out to get you thinking and giving you a starting place. So remember that an anchor isn't self-improvement. It's self-stabilizing. If your day has one steady point, it can help you stop feeling like you're spinning. Just one, that grounding anchor through the rest of your day or the beginning of your evening. Here's another decision you can make, and it's cut the chaos. Pick one source of chaos you are experiencing this week and try to figure out how to reduce it by just 20%. You don't have to get rid of it. We can be so all or none in some of the decisions we make. But if you look at it through the view of what kind of chaos is going on in my life right now that I can reduce just by 20%. This is so important because when we're starting over, it can feel super overwhelming because everything's open ended. We feel like we don't have control over any of it. Our normal is being redefined and it's super uncomfortable. We don't fix everything, we just reduce one pressure point. 20% calmer is a win. So here's some categories for cutting chaos. You can do schedule, people, money, and home. So let's just look in for some examples on how to cut chaos in your life. You just need to pick one category. When you hear me go through these, you're going to know which one is the one for you this week that you can reduce by 20%. Schedule chaos. Girlfriend, stop overbooking. I am going to stretch and show you. I'm a paper day timer kind of gal. Whoop, camera thing. I love my paper day timer. I'm a month in advance. I can look at my digital one too, but it doesn't give me the same satisfaction as looking at that one. There's something about just seeing things in those empty squares start to fill up that makes me feel productive, makes me feel like I have a social life. Sometimes when we start living that out, it can feel overwhelming. You stop overbooking, leave a few little white squares just for some spontaneity. Here's another way to cut some schedule chaos is schedule yourself an admin hour for life stuff. Just put it on your calendar. Sometimes as women, we feel like we can't do it unless we've either earned it or it's on our calendar. Schedule it. That's one way to cut some schedule chaos. People chaos is about boundaries in your life. Limit contact with draining people. We know who those people are in our life. Limit contact. They suck your energy out. And when you are going through big life changes and you're starting over and you feel like your own life is going in chaos a little bit, then try to put yourself with positive people. And if that's not possible, at least limit some draining people. Learn how to have boundary statements in your life. If you aren't comfortable with these phrases, practice them. Try to get comfortable with them. For example, that doesn't work for me. I can't commit to that. I'll think about it and get back to you. Those are good statements to have in your back pocket when you're trying to set boundaries for yourself. Money chaos. Sometimes when we are starting over, we get a little overwhelmed with how am I going to pay my bills? Where's the money going to come from? How is this? Whatever. You start spiraling. Set yourself a money date. This is an option to cut chaos in the area of money. 30 minutes this week to really sit down and get a clear view on where things are so you understand your banking, your checking, your automatic bill payments, or actually, hey, here's another way to cut some money chaos. Automate a bill. Even just one. That could be your one thing that could reduce chaos by about 20%, is just automate one or two of your bills. The last category for options to cut chaos in your life is home. Just one drawer, one counter, one corner. I have a tendency to be all or none. When I was married, I had an attic that anything I didn't know what to do with, I don't want to deal with it right now, to open door, throat, and closed door. Over years, that space builds up and becomes chaotic. But for me, it was out of sight, out of mind. But I learned over time that where I've got those drawers, counters, or corners that need my attention, I set a timer on my phone for 15 minutes, put on some fun music, and I go 15 minutes. And when the alarm goes off, I shut it down. The idea of starting a little project that only commits to 15 minutes is way more doable to cut some chaos in my space than all of a sudden go, oh, it's going to take me half a day or a whole day, or when am I ever going to be able to do it? How do you eat the elephant? Little bites at a time. Your life starts to feel better when it gets simpler. One chaos cut will give you a little bit more breathing room. And breathing room, my friend, creates clarity. So think about it. Which chaos cut do you need most right now this week? Schedule, people, money, or home? Perfect place to start. Here's the last step, the support touch point. Starting over requires structure, and support is part of that structure. Sometimes when we are starting over, especially later in life, it's really easy to become very isolated because that's the easier thing to do than forcing ourselves to stay in contact or to get out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we feel that wanting support is a sign of weakness. And so we don't reach out, where really support isn't weakness, it's a stabilizer. Pick one support touch point this week. It can be reaching out to a friend, setting up a FaceTime if they aren't close by, or maybe a dinner date or a happy hour walk, coffee. Be proactive. Don't be waiting for people to reach out to you. A community touch point. Meetup for me was a great app. It's a little exhausting. It stretches my comfort zone, but it helps me prevent isolation. And especially after my relocation and I knew nobody, it got me out of my comfortable space that was very isolating. It put me around new people and it gave me something to do. Quick recap, we have anchor, cutting chaos, and support. You can grab my free guide down below called Starting Over. And if you want help choosing your next step, book a clarity call. I'm here.